Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Ishvaro Guratmeti Murtiveda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Savavedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatosh Maham Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. Page 2885. We were just doing a short recap of the previous verse, in which Gaudapadacharya presents us this wonderful, profound, clear conclusion that the world is nothing but the most fundamental apparent duality, meaning to say the mind and the world, the knower and the known, the experiencer and the experience. So consciousness somehow is there, and then Maya projects these two entities, Jagrata and Jiva, and then we have duality. So this duality appears as this fundamental pair, the mind and the world. And here he presents to us that the world depends on the mind depends on the world, and as we have concluded last class, the mind depends on the world depends on the mind, and both depends on consciousness to be the only reality, because without the adhisthana, the ground, the base, the screen on which these two entities, the mind and the world capturing the mind, so without the screen of consciousness, there is no projection of this most fundamental duality, the experiencer and the world experience through the body-mind. So this is the pair, the mind and the world, they are mutually dependent. This is the mithya, the superimposition, the projection. We say reality is not duality, but duality is experienced because it appears due to this Maya Shakti, Maya power. This is the game of life. And this is what is the only play. Is the mind and the world playing all the time. The world is there. The mind is somehow illumining or reflecting this world. And the world is experienced. And the sooner we understand that this is a trick, this is a game, this is a play, the sooner we will free from the samsara chakra, because we are trapped by not understanding that this is just a superimposition on that which is our true nature. But what is our true nature? Consciousness. And the reflect consciousness is part of the play. Reflect consciousness is the mind. The mind is also a mithya phenomenon, but the mind is made of two principles. One is original consciousness, satya, and reflected consciousness, mithya. So we need to understand that to establish our identity, our sense of identity in that which is our fundamental true nature, so that we can enjoy a certain degree of ananda, of satisfaction, confidence, peace, because I know that everything else is just a projection upon myself. Just imagine, we have to close our eyes, imagine, I am the screen, and I'm there, and then there is a projector, and projecting this incredible movie, and everybody, the audience they're all excited, and I'm look at everything, and I'm saying, I'm the screen. All this is happening within me without touching me. I am the screen, I am the screen, I am the screen. So the mind is projected upon me, and the other namarupas are projected upon me, and I remain free and independent of this superimposition of the gunas of Maya. By identifying with the mind first, I lend existence to the mind. So if I identify with the mind, I kind of become the mind. If I identify with the world objects, I get attached to the world object. So I get involved, and then I'm trapped in samsara because I can't always get what I want. Most of the time, we don't really get what we want, and that can frustrate the mind and make it unfit for spiritual development. During deep sleep, I'm there, the mind is not operational, and therefore I'm at peace with no complaints. The moment the mind becomes alive, I come to the awake state, I become Vishwa, and I am identified with the mind as the mind. The mind validates the world and gives reality to the world. Once the world is empowered by all minds, not only my mind, everybody is doing the job. The world is empowered by all minds, and then the world becomes something very, very nasty. Why nasty? Because it's a source of insecurity to begin with. How can I live in a place that the ground is moving and changing all the time? I mean, have you seen those movies that shows this cataclysm that people are trying to escape, and then the ground is moving, people are just collapsing in the gaps, you know? So how can you find stability in a ground that is unstable, always moving, changing, offering no security? Once I identify with the mind, I empower the mind and I empower the world, and then I will find the world should be a very nice and dangerous place to be. But remember, the world is gaining power from the mind. I, consciousness, I'm empowering the mind by forgetting my true nature, and I identify with the projection, the namarupas, and the mind. Thus, they mutually attack each other. The mind attacks, in analogy, the mind harasses the world harasses the mind, would be a better way to say. The mind gets affected because the world gets affected because of the mind. So it's a self-reinforcing loop. The mind is going to give power and reality to the world, and then the world is going to appear very empowered, and then the mind is going to become not empowered, but weaker and weaker and weaker because it has empowered the world. Therefore, it believes the world to be reality. It's difficult to get out of this self-reinforcing mechanism loop. And to the extent we saw that even when we start imagining such situations, we get also weak. So that goes to our pattern of thoughts that creates patterns of emotions and feelings and sentiments, by repetition. And then I create a different level of pratibhasika, which is my own dream while awakening, while awake. I'm awake, but I'm living in the mind with all the projections that I developed, due to what? The mind is a dangerous, the world is a dangerous place, and I have to control my experience and so on. So that world is going to affect the mind immensely. The thoughts of the objects exist, and because the objects get strong and the thoughts get strong, we have revisited that concept that the object is no different from the thought. of the object. Bottom line, I should not reject the mind and the world, because as long as I'm alive, they are going to be showing up during the awakened state. So the body, mind, and the world are going to appear. So it's useless to reject completely, absolutely reject. I have to live in this world for as long as my karma needs, requires. The mind and the world should be allowed to interact, but I should keep the mind. I am the screen, I'm the screen, I'm the screen. I'm not the mind, the projector, and I'm not the namarupas projected by the mind. Okay? So I'm the screen is the new mantra. On one side, there is the mind. On the other side, there is the world. I accommodate them because I'm the screen. I bless them. I appear to enliven them. Let them hang around me. Let them sit upon myself as a mirage, knowing perfectly well that they are not going to overwhelm me. Why? Because I never forget that I'm the screen. Jesus is possible only when I understand that the creation is a complementary pair of mind and the world superimposed upon myself. This is the profound verse, very profound verse. The mind and the world are evident only because of each other. They support each other, they empower each other. The next verse, verse 68, all these jivas appear and disappear just as dream jiva appears and disappears. Let's cover the two or three verses, then we go for the commentaries. So first, all these jivas appear and disappears. It disappears just as dream jiva appears and disappears. So what are these jivas that appear and disappear? So it may take some time, but you know, most people never remembered after 50 years, 100 years, or in some cases, even after 1 year. So nobody thinks of me, nobody remember me. Nobody remembers my birthday. All these jivas appear and disappear just as illusory jiva appears and disappears. All these jivas appear and disappear just as materialized jiva appears and disappears, verse 17. And now let's see, Swami just points to three kinds of appearance here. Verse 68, 69, and 70 is one of those things that it seems to be relevant, this verse, because it reflects the Vedic culture of thousands and thousands of years back, maybe, in which it was common to have yogis projecting certain jivas that appear and disappear, but the seed power of yoga. So again, I remember Papaji telling us incredible stories of, I think I shared with you, that the sage comes out of the forest. Papaji was on his own pilgrimage and living in the caves, and he finally enough got rid of being householder and support of family. He went around to live in samadhi here and there. And then one time he was in a place in his pilgrimage, and then somebody said, yeah, there is a sage in that forest that is of the highest possible level. But it's very rare. He never allowed people to see him. And Babaji went there to look for the guy. And as he entered the forest, the guy came to meet him and said, oh, nice, I was waiting for you. And then this sage says like, oh, I have been living here for so many hundreds of years, but I'm a bit tired. And Papaji said, yeah, I know, I heard about you. You are a great yogi, you know, with a lot of seed powers and so on. And then the guy said, yeah, but I heard about you, that you give good satsangs. So I came here because I want to have satsang from you, Papaji. And Papaji say, oh, really? Well, satsang from me, yes, because I have all these powers, but I'm not self-realized. And then the bottom line here is Papaji said that more than once to us, face to face, that this yogi just materialized a beautiful Indian lunch out of thin air before Papaji, and they had great food, materialized food. So it seems that it's not uncommon. It was not in the past, and even recently, let's say 50 or 70 years ago, Papaji supposedly met one of those cities, these yogis. And then he says that there are some jivas that are produced by there are the jiva of the dream state that are produced by Nidra Shak. There is a jiva produced by yogi powers, and there is a jiva produced by a magician with a trick of magic. So those three verses relate to these three kinds of projection, okay? They all appear and disappear. He says here, all the things and beings obtaining in the awake state appear, but they disappear only after some time. No? Some babies, they are born and they die after a few moments. Some of us live 100 years or more. So in the awake state, the jivas appear, and after some time they disappear, like the patterns of a flame tip without having existence of their own. So what is the existence of the body-mind? It is an apparent existence. Why? Because everything is an appearance. How so? It's not really real. How so? Because something real has existence at all times, not birth and the death, beginning, middle, and end. Everything that appears, disappears is called mithya in our language, or in a philosophical metaphysical circle, it's called unreality. Because reality is that which is always ever present without ever changing. So, but these jivas, they have the capacity, they borrow some existence by some power. And then Swami says something interesting. When they appear, you must handle them. Hey, you are consciousness. So nice to meet you, consciousness. So you are here like me, so I'm here. So I don't know why I came here, but it seems that scriptures may be pointing to the right direction. I came here because I was ignorant. I was imagining there was something really, really wonderful here. So, and then once I'm here, I have no choice. The appearance of the mind and the world, this instrument of experience and the world experience through it, appears. I have no choice. I wish I could sleep. I wish I could sleep forever. Oh, no, don't go there. Otherwise, it's equivalent of rejecting your karma, and Ishvara may feel offended. So how are you going to have to do is something that is choiceless? Just don't reject it, but don't get much involved with them. Don't get much involved, okay? You have no choice. It appears. The body-mind appears with you every time you become the awaker. Every day is so repetitive. It never leaves me alone. So in the morning it's there, and then I see my body-mind, and then I see my dark bedroom because I get up around 4:30 or 5. And then I say, another day, and yet another day. And then I think of my cafe latte, and they say, ooh, cafe latte. And then I'm a little happier. So, in the verse 68, the example is Vaptana Maya Jiva. So it's the Jiva of the dream state. The second verse, the verse 69, refers to the Maya Jiva. These are all new terms. And the seventh is Nirmitako Jiva. Bottom line, the first example refers to the Jiva in the dream state that appears and disappears and can be very fast, the dream, seconds. The second example is a magician who projects a Jiva, and the Jiva appears and disappears like a holographic image. And the third is is a yogi with yogic power, such as the one I mentioned, described by Papaji, that makes things appear. And according to Papaji, it had nutrition to it because they ate it. Go and figure it. Yeah, true nutrition. The third example is that. In these examples, the jivas do not have existence, but they have an appearance. These examples should be extended to the universe, which is a little bit more difficult. They appear and disappear. Why? Because we have an impression of continuity and solidity, tangentibility, because we see things that every day they still here, and they say, no, here it's not disappearing, but disappears. I'm learned that even plants and trees, they get sick and they die. I have a good fruit tree and then dies, gets sick and dies. Everything dies. Everything disappears. Cats and dogs disappear. How long does a cat live, Lynn? Average?
Well, all my 3 cats are 13 years, which in human years is about 80.
I see.
So they're old.
No, it's more or less like a dog. A dog also is about that. So you see with the dog that the life extension is shorter. You see, oh my God, it's only 1.5 years here. Seems that he's so much older. It is a fact, because it's almost like 20 years older in our human body. So everything is appearing, getting old and disappearing, change. The conclusion of this discourse that anything that appears is disappearing in due time, okay? Either instantly or just around the corner. So, but to bring that to the pratibhasika satya, this physical material universe, and understand and hold that perspective, that vision, that these two is just appearing and disappearing. And somewhere here, Swami is going to remember us that even our bodies here is in the same every day. Get some pictures from 30 years ago. And then he says, like, not only that, the cells, they have changed completely. They say that after a certain time, we have changed all our cells, So everything is dying and being reborn, as some put it, Even our physical body is dying and being reborn on a moment-to-moment basis. The only solution for a situation such as this one, the world is changing, offering no stability, no security. And if that was not enough, the mind is changing. Every time it has a different notion, idea, desires, and fears. So you have a changing world and a changing mind, and how you're going to find stability and security and peace? No, it's impossible. So the only solution is to inquire into the nature of the mind and to establish the true nature of the mind as consciousness, turiya, Brahman, that which never changed and which was never born and will never die. The truth is said in the verse 71, no jiva is ever born. This jiva has no cause, because if it was not born, so there is no principle that has caused that. This Brahman is the absolute truth in which nothing is born. So I am the screen, everything else is just a projection for myself. I'm consciousness, I'm Brahman, I'm Turiya. I am Satchitananda, the only reality. Nothing is originate, nothing is born, and nothing dies. It's all a movie, a play, a theater, a show. Gaudapada comes to Jativada again, reminding us that there is no creation, no origination. He brings back the verse 48 of the chapter 3, showing that both the Mithya Jativada are nothing but one and the same teaching, seen from different angles, similar to the statements, the cup is half full and the cup is half empty. Beautiful. When you say that there is an apparent non-originated theory of creation, apparent, or there is no creation, Adjaitivada, there is no creation, there is an apparent creation. Two vadas, two theories, okay? So what is the difference? The only difference, if you say that there is no creation, and then people, they get confused, you know? And then they start thinking that they do not exist. You know? So the body-mind does not really exist, but you exist as Turiya, as consciousness. It's saying that either we say there is a Mithya creation, the theory of Mithya creation, apparent creation, or no creation at all. The only difference is that Mithya creation is easier to digest, but ultimately we need to come to terms with the fact that Mithya creation is equivalent of no creation, but a mirage, a mere projection. Yeah? So different angles. Saying that the world is seemingly born is Maya Jativada, and saying that the world is not actually born is Ajativada. Yeah? So we have Mithya, we have Maya, Mithya Ajativada, we have Maya Ajativada, the same thing. Ajativada, which is a more radical way to word it. So these teachings are all the same. All there is consciousness, the screen on which the creator, the creature, and the creation are superimposed upon so that we can have some pleasure and pain. I don't know why. But, anyhow, how are we going to understand something like this? Why? So Swamiji just said many times, don't ask why, because you're going to get in trouble. So there is no jiva, there is no universe really born. The world really is important here, really. Even though the jiva and jagata is seemingly born and seemingly experienced, it's available for experience, but it's not really real. I sometimes I like to put these words like that. It's not really real. Strange to say it's not really real. Yes, but what else to say? It's apparently real. There is no origination creation for the jiva. We have refused all theories. We have refused Sat-Karyavada, no? That a theory, there is a Karyavada, there is a cause, and this cause comes from existence itself, and then we have said that there is a cause for this creation, and it came from non-existent to become existent, and then we had to look at the logic suggested by Gaudapada to find the inconsistencies and illogical notions both of these theories. And then even the Vedic theory we have in the end, we have to throw it by the window, which is the Karma Karyavada. There is a creation, okay? And it came from existence, it came from non-existence, and then it came from karma, okay? The cause is karma, but still, where is the original karma? So all theories in the end have to be rejected. No theory of creation is presents any convincing logic. Therefore, there is no origination of this world, is the gift of Gaudapada and some Upanishads, but Gaudapada has really broken it down for us. But then one should never say that there is nothing, there is emptiness, there is the void. Because, first of all, because the universe as it is and the mind continues to appear. There's nothing we can do about that. And furthermore, if you really go all the way down to the true nature of the mind and Jagata and this universe, you come to consciousness. And to say that consciousness is nothing is very misleading. It's very misleading because it gives us the impression that the problem is on the projection. We need to remove the projection because then there is no projection. We say like there is no projection is the only solution. We have to find the space of the void, emptiness, nothingness. Why? Because the projection creates problems. But you cannot do that. Oh no, you can become a yoga and develop the Nirvikalpa Samadhi Vasana, and then you live eternally out of this fundamental duality, the experiencer and the experienced. So it's better to understand that consciousness is the only reality, and it's not nothing. It's the only reality. How so? It's not nothing. It's full. It's not empty. No, it's full. And it's all over the place because there is only that. So consciousness is purna, as our tradition says, full, whole, complete, limitless, nothing other than consciousness. Therefore, never associate your true nature as nothingness because it could create misleading notions, concepts. This is the truth. It's called Turiya in this Upanishad. It's the highest and the only reality. The dream world is called Pratibhasika Satyam. The awakened world is called Vyavaharika Satyam. And the Turiya, how he's putting it, the dream state, the waking world is called, and the, how are we going to put it? Because it's not a dream world, it's not a waking world, and the Turiya, he did not associate with state or world or anything. The only reality is Turiya, and it's referred to as Paramartika Satyam. Is the adhisthana of those two other worlds, all other worlds, all dimensions or interdimensional locus. These are called objective reality. Nice. All of these are called objective reality because objects are superimposed upon consciousness, and those objects are superimposed in such a way that you need a certain kind of instrument of experience to capture that superimposition, meaning to say in the dream state, you need to have a dream body. In the awakened state, you need to have a waking body. And in Turiya state, you need no body because Turiya is not an entity, an experiencing entity. There is no objectivity. Objectivity means knower, unknown, a subject and an object, an experiencer and an experienced object. So all these are called subjective reality. What is that? Realness. These are called subjective reality, empirical reality, and absolute reality. Okay, he's present the three ones. Yeah. So the dream state is a subjective reality. The physical awakening world is empirical reality. And the absolute reality is consciousness real, in which Turiya was never born, and nothing is really born within Turiya. Verse 72, if you guys have anything to say, please interrupt me and say something. This duality consisting of the subject and object is nothing but the apparent motion of consciousness. Consciousness is ever free from objects, patterns, therefore it's said to be relationless. Now it's going to bring the asanga nature of consciousness. It does not relate to anything. When you have this stick of incense and it's lit, and then you move it, you're going to create patterns, but you need the motion. The motion goes to the Maya Shakti. So this duality, mind and the world, is nothing but apparent motions of consciousness or within consciousness by the power of Maya. Consciousness is ever free from all these apparent objects caused by the motions, the motion of the gunas. Therefore, consciousness is a sangha. Because any pattern, any namarupa, any superimposition or configuration of the gunas is going to allow us to establish some relationship, such as cause and effect, between this phenomenon, that phenomenon. So there is always room for us to search for and establish cause and effect relationship in the entire phenomenal world. In fact, everything is interconnected, affecting everything else. But then you have the screen. The screen is there. You never get tired and say, okay, these people, they're never tired of projecting these things and get all excited about these things. So they are all relating to one another and trying to find causality in everything. And I'm here, totally asanga, totally dispassionate, not relating to any of this. This is my nature, my asanga nature. Then again, he brings the firebrand, by which willing movement will create patterns, plurality, different shapes. And similarly, a consciousness seems to move violently, and the seeming motion of consciousness alone is the awakening in the dream world. So everything is moving due to some Maya Shakti. This is called Chaitanya Spandana. The word Chitan in this verse is refers to Chaitanya. How does the Chaitanya seemingly move? How is consciousness moving? It does not move, as we know. Chaitanya or consciousness is motionless. It is because of the movement of thoughts. The movement of thoughts due to the movement of the world. The world is moving, producing different phenomena, and all these phenomenal objects produce different thoughts in respect to them. And this is a constant movement that is closer to consciousness as a thought, because the thought is subtler than the object that produced the thought. But all these movements of the phenomenal world of objects, and then the thoughts is going to produce what? Movement on the screen in the cinema hall. I mean, we are like, they say, oh, the screen is moving. No, the screen is not moving. Huh? No. The projection, the objects, and the thoughts are moving. It's because of movement of thoughts. When there are no thoughts, there is no awakening or dream world. Good, very nice. Nice conclusion. So He's just bringing us to understand the connection there between thoughts, and the movements or modifications that occur in consciousness. In the waking state, we have thoughts superimposed in consciousness. We call them vritis. Vrit sometimes is translated as modification in consciousness. So we have certain modifications in the dream state and in the waking state. Those are thoughts, and it's so easy to take the thoughts and the mind as consciousness, superimpose mitya in satya. So when you go to deep sleep, there are no thoughts. There is no waking state or dream state thoughts. The seeming motion of consciousness is caused by the rise and fall of thoughts. And the thoughts are impressions due to the rise and fall of all objects in the phenomenal world producing different thoughts. We wake up, they appear. And then we have a nap, we go into deep sleep, everything disappears, and then we wake up, and then we have the Vyavaharika rising again. And the thoughts, the corresponding thoughts. The thoughts come from the mind, and the mind comes from the world Maya. Therefore, Maya along through the thought movement is producing everything. This ignorance is producing the world. What is the ignorance? To believe that the world of objects that emerge, that appear again and again, they are real. And then I have some thoughts in regards to that. And I get intense about that. I get serious about that. I get involved with those thoughts / objects. You understand? So this is the Maya power, the ignorance, which projects a sense of reality to the objects and the thoughts in respect to the objects. Don't take your mind, your thoughts, and the world around you seriously. Don't neglect completely, but somehow do not get much involved. Develop this passion, wisdom that allows us to see things and say, oh, I'm not going to be tricked again by this play, so many plays, on the political arena, in the social arena, in the economic arena, spiritual, everywhere you see those plays. And a dispassionate person watches everything with equanimity and say, let me not get much involved with any of it. When thoughts are resolved, there is neither the waking world nor the dream world. In the presence, in deep sleep, the thoughts are resolved, and then both the waking and the sleep world disappear. In the presence of moving thoughts, consciousness appears as moving. How difficult it is to discriminate the unmoving nature of yours from the moving nature of you. Anything that moves is not real. Anything that changes. How simple, to understand that. In both cases, the dream world and the awakened world, there is a principle that is motionless, and the thoughts in respect to, because the thoughts is very close, intimately associated with the chit consciousness aspect of Brahman, manifested as reflect consciousness. So the thoughts are there. These reflect consciousness as the witnessing conscious principle is not moving, it's just witnessing. The thoughts are moving, the notions are moving. Because they are moving, it appears as if consciousness is moving. Take the deep sleep states. When the thoughts are not moving, you don't feel that consciousness is moving. There is a certain experiential element in deep state that allows us, in retrospect, to say, wow, that was very nice. There was nothing moving. within me. All the movement belongs to Maya Shakti, and it makes us feel as if we are moving and changing and doing things. So the ultimate sadhana here is discriminating the unchanging consciousness from the changing mind or intellect, you know, and that has to be done by the intellect. Oh, but the intellect is moving, so try to have the intellect in a way that it does not move too much so that it can follow the logic as presented by the Upanishad. Do this viveka and understand that its true intrinsic nature does not change. But what's the big deal about that? Oh, once you understand your unchanging nature, you relax much more in this changing world. When the object is perceived, there is consciousness, and that object and the thought of the object. When a different object is perceived, consciousness does not change. Oh, no, change. Consciousness becomes the object. No, that is a different teaching. The mind becomes the object. It's not that it becomes, it just gives a name and attributes to that object, and then there is no difference or distance. The object is not apart from the mind. Consciousness does not become anything. Consciousness does not change. The mind is going to change with the thought of the object, but the thought has now changed and the object thought has changed as well. Thus, one experience changes into another experience. The mind is changing, this flow, constant flow. The more rajasic the mind, the more rapid is this flow in which the mind, you know, appears as if taking the shape of different notions, object, concepts, and blah, 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 blah. Well, the more rajasic is our state of mind in a certain moment here and there. So the less rajasic and more sattvic states the mind is, more you perceive that consciousness, which is the adjustment of the objects and the thoughts of objects, does not change. You can more easily understand that, especially following the logic presented by Vedanta. Because the flow of mind changing thoughts and objects relate to those changing thoughts slows down. That's why meditation is generally prescribed to slow down the mind, because any kind of insight, good insight, valid insight, requires a mind which has come down in its frenetic flow. Vedanta also says, so we need to cultivate and possibly maintain a sattvic state of mind so that you can do this viveka, do this shravana, manana, and nididhyasana. Thoughts move and experience flow one after the other, and you get this virtual reality, which like a hologram that appears very tangible. What is the difference between the physical material universe and the thoughts that occur within my mind? I can more easily accept that the thoughts create a kind of a virtual reality similar to a hologram. But to accept that the objects, which are not apart from the thoughts of objects, are there also as a hologram, is a little bit more difficult for us to digest, because they look very tangible. Thus, the thought notion creates the appearance of the world, because as we have established, the world is sustained by the thoughts of the world, which is going to empower further in power, the world, which is going to further deceives the mind, so that the mind is going to think more and more of the world as reality. This thought here refers to Maya. Maya alone call all of these. This is the fundamental superposition, yeah, or modification in consciousness, the thoughts, the gunas, the original vibration in the universe. This entire creation is the seeming motion of consciousness caused by the motion of thoughts, the so-called mind, and that all is due to the gunas of Maya. The complementary pair, the mind and the world, is nothing but the seeming motion of the Maya only, the Prakriti of Maya, producing all these configurations of Namarupas, which in relationship with the Jivatma, the experiencer and the knower, appears to be a great show in a flux of violent movement, such as we see in some action movies, Hollywood movies. The truth is there is no object in consciousness. In the initial stage of Vedanta, we do Atma Anatma Viveka. Initial stage, Atma Anatma Viveka, the seer and the seen, using the principle that the subject is always different from the object. The experiencer is different from the experienced world of object. The experiencer fundamentally is not the mind, is the Atma, is the self, is consciousness. And any and everything experienced below Atma is Anatma. It's all said to be Anatma, that Anatma has Drishatvam. Yeah? Anatma is always subject to be objectified and seen. So this is the nature of Drisha. Drisha, Viveka. Drig is just the Atma, that which cannot be seen, but it's the true ultimate seer. It's said that consciousness is the observer and the entire world is the observed. Thus, the observer-observed duality is talked about initially. The ultimate in Advaita that has to be said is that there is no observer and no object, such as the world being observed. It's already hard enough to bring people to Vedanta to do this viveka between consciousness and the world, and that's what we present in the beginning, and that gives the impression that the world is real. How about towards the end when we say there is no observer-observed duality? You know, that's just a superimposition upon consciousness, you, the only reality. By the way, I wrote something in an interaction with someone. I'm going to publish, which just about this. It said that consciousness is the observer and the world is the observed. But we talk about that only initially. The ultimate Advaita is going to reject both. Here, Gaudapada says that the observer consciousness is totally free and independent from any projection upon itself that can be observed. Just like the sand, the desert sand is free from the mirage. The observed anatma is an appearance all the time and does not have existence and so on. When the observed anatma is negated, Atma cannot be called the observer also. It is very beautiful. Observing what? Yeah? That's the whole principle of consciousness as the witnessing, witnessing consciousness. It applies to the reflected consciousness because consciousness in its true nature does not witness anything because there is nothing to be witnessed. And furthermore, that's maybe why consciousness cannot be observing, knowing, experiencing entity. There is nothing to be observed. Well, the observer concept, the observer status is valid only as long as the observed is accepted. Similar to the status of a teacher, is valid only if there are some students. The teacher does not disappear, but the teacher status disappears. Very nice, beautiful. Consciousness does not disappear because it does not have the status of being the experiencer or the knower. But it appears as the jiva atma, and jiva atma is nirguna atma fundamentally. And then nirguna, this jiva atma becomes the witnessing once it somehow inquires into the true nature of the mind. The teacher does not disappear, but the teacher is no longer said to be a teacher because there are no students. The teacher does not disappear. It just no longer have the status. This consciousness is beyond any relational names. Once anathema is negated, pramata, sakshi, etc. are all sakshi. Sakshi is the witnessing consciousness. All of that has to be rejected later on. All names given to anathema in relation to the known and observed, but these names have to be retracted later on. Apavada, Ajarupa, Apavada, retract once we know that the observed anathema is just an appearance. But can atma be called consciousness? Shankaracharya says that even the word consciousness is relevant only with reference to the world, which is insentient. The concept of sentience can be appreciated only when there is insentience present. So even the word Sat, Chitananda, they are relational names that have to be retracted in the end. Consciousness does not have any association, any relationship, everything we have said. There is one guru, I don't know if he's still around, but he came back from India and he started presenting his final teachings of the Mandukya. He said there is nothing. The truth is that there is none of this. This is all, initial teachings, but not the final teachings, and he got some attention in the spiritual world of Vedanta. But the problem is that most people do not understand because he does not elaborate such as we see here, He just said there's nothing, there is only consciousness and so on. Okay, I'm going to stop here because Lynn has to go. We did anyhow about 60 minutes. I want to come back to this point here because it is the climax, it is the peak of these teachings when we're going to destroy any word that depends on association as an effort to describe Turiya or consciousness or Brahman or our true nature. It's not the witnessing, it's not this, it's not that. What is consciousness? Satchitananda, forget it. There is not, and then it's silent. And then the Buddhists were right. Or maybe, how do you say? Ramana was right, silence. Let's stay in silence. But silence is not going to remove any ignorance. Namaste. We meet again this coming Friday with the Gita. Okay? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste. Till Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Felipe. Much love to you too.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Bye now.